the way. Let's try that again, shall we? Use the gears instead. Okay, are we going to stay now? Thank you, Rusty. I'm just going to jump out and grab this. And Paul, for now, it seems as though the female elephants are managing to feed their youngsters in the drought. It's going to get more and more difficult for them, and not all of them are managing. We saw one with Brent a couple of months ago, I think it was, where a female wasn't able to produce the milk that her baby needed, and that poor little baby died a couple of days later on Torchwood. So it does happen. Sorry, I just thought this feather was too beautiful for words. I wonder if it came from the fish eagle that flies around here. It is straight into the sun for genre, but it is so beautiful. Mottled is the only way of describing that. Beautifully mottled. Much like my skin was after painting Final Control this afternoon. Our new Final Control, that is. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Its filaments and its fringes. Stunning. I'm going to keep that, I think. Yes, I know I'm going to keep that. I'm going to put it safely in my box. Right, while we go and catch up with the elephants, let's go across to Steph for an update on his side.
Hi, welcome back. We've left the river area with those elephants, and we are now trying to hopscotch around the block to Twin Dams. I want to go and have a look at what's going on around Twin Dams, because I feel that perhaps we've missed the opportunity, and this leopard has walked literally past us while we've been watching the elephants and while we've been deciding on what to do. I don't know why I'm feeling like that. It's just there's just not that much energy around there anymore. Could literally just be me doing that though, so don't take what I say as any sort of backing, scientific backing whatsoever. Oh, it's building up to be quite an afternoon, I must be honest with you. Nice clear skies. The wind we had this morning seems to have cleared off a lot of the dust. Although it is still quite diffused. I think we are going to be having a red sunset tonight rather than a golden one. I do think it's going to be a very pretty sunset. Coming through an area that's also frequented by a lot of different things. Elephant love this area. Jamie's got a juvenile fish eagle to show you. See you in a bit.
Oh, I suspect that oh my goodness. And I think if we needed any further proof, he or she is currently providing it. I suspect that this is the previous owner of that feather before it was passed to me. It is a juvenile fish eagle. It hasn't yet acquired its adult plumage, but is in the process of molting. Oh, bye. That was a juvenile fish eagle. Wow, Genre. Awesome. And now, actually, if we reposition, we can actually get a view of both the juvenile and the adult. Just hold on one moment. We'll go and get them both. So the juveniles of birds of prey can take up to 7 or 8 years to get their adult plumage. They spend their sort of initial first years of life, of their sub-adult life, with very mottled, usually quite drab plumage. They look very, very different from their adult form, which is completely fascinating. So, for a nice comparison purpose, and I'm really hoping they don't go anywhere, if I go any closer they will, we've got an adult on the left-hand side and a juvenile on the right. Now here is the juvenile, still with that flapping, shame, I always want to go and grab it from him, help him out a little bit. And then we've got the adult fish eagle on the left. Such a treat to see these extraordinarily beautiful birds. One that is so stereotypical of Africa, I think. That was a bushbuck. Did you hear that? That deep roar. Right. Let's see if it does it again. Let's just see if it does it one more time. Because it might have barked. It wasn't actually a bushbuck. I'm sorry, it was an nyala. It was too deep for a bushbuck. Might even have been a kudu. That deep woo sound. Before we go racing off, it was just one call. Now, sometimes what happens is they get a fright. Either people or perhaps an elephant chases it or chased it, which could well have happened. Oh, look at this. Ah, I was so hoping it was going to land on the same branch, provide us with an incredible image, but come on, Rusty. Oh, come on. You roll when I don't want you to, and you don't when I do. Okay, I have to start up. I'm not racing in the direction of that bark because I'm not sure that it wasn't just a nyala getting chased by an elephant and giving off a deep booming bark in panic more than anything else. But I will go and investigate once we've finished with our fish eagle. Ah, just can't get them both in the same shot here. Oh dear. Sort of. Almost. Let's give you a really nice glimpse of the difference between the adult on the right and the juvenile on the left now. With that silly flapping loose feather. That must be so irritating. Come on, give your wings a good shake. Might help. Flapping in the wind. Oh, that must be so irritating. There goes, oh, there goes the adult. I don't know where it's heading to, and the juvenile will probably follow suit relatively soon. Thank you all for sending through your stunning screenshots of these beautiful birds. They really are so picturesque, sort of. This guy is maybe not quite so photogenic just yet. I mean, he's still pretty, but that loose flapping feather just isn't doing wonders for his look. It's the equivalent of that awkward teenage stage with braces and pimples that our juvenile fish eagle is currently going through. I'm so desperate for that feather to fall off. It just looks so out of place. Also be very nice to go and add to my new collection of juvenile fish eagle feathers, a collection that I have recently just started, believe it or not. Giving it a sort of sideways look. Come on, please pluck it out with your beak. It really looks, it's like a loose tooth. It really looks like it needs to go now. Of course, those feathers are embedded in their skin. So it's only when they naturally fall out that it doesn't hurt the bird. To pull the bird's feathers out would hurt. That's obviously irritating. But it's probably just not quite got to that point where it's ready to go. And you can imagine how solid the rooting system of flight feathers has to be, in order to prevent them from falling out under the force of that the bird undergoes during flight. Their feathers are so essential to their survival. They have to be deeply rooted underneath the skin. That one's driving me mad. It's upsetting my sense of order. It really, truly is. Shame. Poor bird. Alright, well I think we'll leave our poor juvenile fish eagle to his adolescent woes and go and search to see perhaps what upset that Nyala, but also I'm still curious to see what was on the mind of those elephants when they went racing off down into this drainage line, because they went off with a very determined atmosphere, or very determined air to their body language. Bedrooms, presumably. I assume. I don't actually know the layout that well. But just, imagine going out for your afternoon sundowner, not really paying attention to what's going on around you, opening up your balcony door, only to find yourself eye level with a couple of giant creatures. And that is exactly what the clever females of that herd had in mind. They've come through to dig up a pipe and have a drink. And I'm sure that's what the bushbuck bark was, the Nyala bark was about as well. Gently swishing tails of the elephants as they seek out the water pipe, and I'm not sure what some of them are doing, but I bet they're up to mischief, and perhaps depositing a present for the guest when they get back from their afternoon safari, or a couple of large presents for the guests when they come back from their afternoon safari. Okay, in that case, having solved two of our mysteries, I think we're going to carry on. For now, we'll send you back across to Steph. I might watch this for a little bit longer, but I'll send you back across to Steph to find out what his plans are for the rest of the afternoon.
It's as natural as flooding is. It's as natural as fires are. It's just a necessary part of maintaining the balance out here. There's no such thing as an equilibrium. It's all just part of the flow of things, and drought is just one of those things. Only the fittest and the most able will survive, and the areas that are marginal, they lose animals so that they don't get overgrazed and they don't get overutilized, so that when the good times do come, those areas can support animals again. I've just heard that those ellies are in Arathusa's garden, and that's a sight that you can't miss. So back you go to Jamie and her elephant.
The ellies are still in Arathusa garden, and Giandre has managed to solve the mystery even further. It's a splash pool. It is a guest's splash pool that they are currently drinking from, and it just goes to show how clever these elephants really are. They've managed to find their way. They've learned that, and I promise you, I bet you they would only try this on game drive time, or during game drive time, when they know that the guests are not going to be in the room, and that a lot of the staff will be busy setting up for dinner, and so on. They probably even time it, although that might be a bit of a stretch, but they may well time it to avoid the staff members who are busy doing the turn down of the beds. Look, she's drinking from a splash pool. I know it's really difficult to see. I don't think there's a better position that I can get for you. But that is seriously enterprising. And one certainly cannot begrudge them their opportunity to have a long drink at a little splash pool. And that's a lovely message coming through from Bonnie Clifford. It's wonderful to have you, Bonnie, and I hope you're enjoying watching Arathusa from a slightly different angle. Now, apparently, when Bonnie Clifford was staying at Arathusa last year, she found herself with a pile of elephant dung right outside the bedroom. And I think that might be a relatively regular experience at the Arathusa Lodge. This is not the first time I've stopped on our live safaris and spoken about the elephants right next to the windows. This is, however, the first time I have ever shown them on camera drinking from a splash pool. That is a first. The guests are even the little baby can reach over. The guests are going to come back, there's going to be no water in their swimming pool. Or there's going to be half a swimming pool and a thin layer of elephant saliva floating on the top. I wonder if they've spread themselves out throughout the guest rooms. Little bit of Ellie backwash for your nightly swim. Fortunately, it is midwinter, and perhaps they won't be as eager to do so. The newest in spa treatments. Elephant saliva, guaranteed to make you look, well, not sure what it's guaranteed to do. So I'm saying saliva. I'm not entirely sure it's just saliva that will make its way into that water. A little bit of mucus as well, I imagine. I'm so curious. It's such a pity it's so, well, not a pity, it's the natural lay of the land. It would be nice to see if they've spread themselves out from room to room, because there was a sizable elephant herd that had to come and wait for their turn to drink at one splash pool. Look at the little trunk reaching up and around. That nice baby. Okay. I think it's probably time to leave our elephants to their splash pool experience. And perhaps just leave it to the imagination what the guests might discover upon their return after their evening safari. And for us, for all of us, it will be just that little secret. It will be the secret between us and the elephants as to what really happened on a quiet afternoon at Arathusa Lodge during game drive time. Hey elephants, don't worry. Myself, Chandra, and several hundred people will keep your secret nice and safe with us. While we carry on, let's go back across to Steph and find out how he's doing.
I'm doing fine, thank you, Jamie. I hope all of you are doing okay as well. We are finally at Twin Dams, and I'm just taking a moment to listen to the bush around us. So I'm taking a moment to switch off the car, listening to the bush, hearing if I can hear any other disturbance around here. Nothing much. We've been sitting still probably for 3 or 4 minutes. I always call it providence. If we were meant to find something, when we switch off, it'll give us the answer. All I'm saying is, come on monkeys, there's a troop of vervet monkeys that live in the forest in front of us, basically in that band over there, and I'm hoping that they start to shout at some point at this leopard. What we could do to expedite the whole process is actually take you for a drive in the dry riverbed, which might actually be quite nice. It's not very often that I drive through the riverbeds. I walk through them very often, but not driving through them. It might be quite nice. Let's go and do that for a change. Don't you just love this ancient jackalberry? This is an enormous tree. One of the tallest trees out here. I'm going to go backwards a little bit so you can get the full majesty of this particular tree, hopefully without my bald head ruining your shot. One giant thing to another. Jamie's got those elephants having tea on the, or high tea on the deck at Arathusa. Get your cameras ready.
The elephants have indeed turned up right on time for high tea at Arathusa Lodge. They presented us with this absolutely stunning view. I know that Chandra has been recording some of this. I think we definitely will at some point show it to the Arathusa guys, just so they can have a look at what goes on behind the scenes. I think this might be the spa, to be completely honest. I think this might either be a spa pool or a water feature. Either way, right now it is an elephant's drinking spot. Where there's a will, there is a way. as you can see from that little trunk that's desperately trying to reach over the top behind the elephant that we're... Oh, there we go! Yay! And Deborah, armchair traveller, yes, absolutely. All of the pools in this area will be maintained in a way that is safe for the animals to drink, so that they're not consuming a huge amounts of chlorine with their drink. And of course, it's not just the elephants that will come through and drink from here. You'll probably find that the leopards often go and have a drink late at night. Maybe even lions, baboons, monkeys, possibly even antelope might be brave enough to sneak in and have a drink there from time to time. So the pools won't be maintained in a way. There'll probably even be a natural filtration system. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure what method it is that they employ here. I know that where I used to work, they set up a wonderful system where it is a sort of an overflow pool that goes into a natural filtration system built out of reeds and grasses and so on, that then filters the water and it gets pumped back into the main body of the pool. And that was because the lions have a tendency to go, well, all the animals have a tendency to go and have a drink from there. Oh, we got somebody new arriving for their drink. That little trunk stretching in there is utterly adorable. I knew they had to have some kind of secret mission. They were clearly thirsty. Oh, little trunk. Oh, having a quick rest on the spa floor. That's going to bear an interesting imprint. Wet trunk mark. This is really stunning. This is definitely a new one for all of us, I think. Certainly a new one for me. At the Arathusa spa pool. And Fox Hatter said, an elephant jacuzzi sounds excellent. Where can you book? Well, I'm sure you will be able to find the details, but absolutely. It was one of the things we always wanted to do in the area. My old job, there was a big concrete reservoir outside of camp, and we used to occasionally, well, we did swim in there until I encountered an entire baboon skull, stepped on it the one afternoon. After that, our swimming trips were limited. But one of the things I really wanted to do was blow up one of those tire tubes and go and sit in the middle of the reservoir with an elephant herd coming to drink around me. I think probably they would never have actually approached. Ooh. I think they've been discovered. The secret is out. Or there's another elephant that has caused chaos a little bit further out, I think. Or I actually just think it's some building work going on back there that startled them. I don't think they were actively chased, I just think there was some building work happening. Sorry, Ellies, I interrupted mid-drink. Well, in that case, I think since our sighting is now over, or perhaps some brave soul decided they wanted to go to the spa and discovered they were unable to due to the presence of a herd of elephants there. Hello, little one. Did you manage to get a drink as well? Yes, tip of the trunk wet. Hello, girls. You've even managed to get some on your head as well. On an after-drink dinner. That dead branch was clearly in the way. Alright, Ellies. Thank you for your wonderful sighting, and Harry, I agree. Elephants do never cease to amaze all of us out here. They are incredibly intelligent animals. That was pure problem solving right there. The dam is muddy, the dam is gross, the dam has hardly any water in it, just mud. Okay, well, we'll go to the pool. We'll go to the plunge pool or the splash pool or whatever it is that's on the deck of the Arathusa Lodge and go and enjoy a quick drink there. They're very, very clever animals. And it was clearly the females that were leading the way to go and drink from there, and that was clearly the destination that they had in mind. They didn't even really stop to let the young calves even try and drink from the Arathusa Dam. It was only the young males that made brave but half-hearted attempts at drinking from that mud wallow. And then they go into the Tamboti thicket, pretty much disappearing from view for now. Now, MJDNN Gull, MJDNN Gull, I hope that's right, I think that's your username, but MJDNN Gull, is Lou saying D? MJB? MJG! MJG. Okay, hold on. I got this. MJGNN Gal. MJGNN Gal. I've forgotten what your question was completely. Oh, I remember. Will animals feel safer when they come to drink if elephants are around? Not at the moment, because elephants are actually quite possessive over the water that they are finding. Sunset. Oh, you want the sunset? Oh, perfect. Okay. So while we answer MJGNN Gal's question, the elephants at the moment are chasing most of the animals away from the waterhole. And they wouldn't necessarily act to protect another animal if it were to be attacked by a predator. That being said, there are lots and lots of recorded cases of elephants chasing away other predators, and when there's plenty of water, then yes, the other animals will happily share the water hole with the elephants and feel relatively content in doing so. Just safety in numbers. Any situation where there is the advantage of numbers, animals will feel a greater sense of comfort when they go and drink. And MJGNN Girl, my apologies for my butchering of your name. It was totally unintentional, and I hope that no offence was caused. Beautiful sunset. I think I'm going to leave the elephants for now. And while we do, and go off in search of other things, and while I attempt to compose myself, because I'm going to get the giggles very soon, I'm going to send you back across to Steph, find out how he's doing.
I must say, I don't quite get that joke, but it's good that Jamie's having a bit of a laugh. She does get the giggles every now and again, and I must be honest, once she starts, it's very difficult to switch her off. And I say that in the fondest possible way. What I've decided to do is drive into the sun. I feel like watching the sunset, and I think the closer we get to the sun, I can prolong that sunset. You could probably prolong it indefinitely, but we'll eventually hit a mountain range, which even this car won't be able to go over. Perhaps if we had Brent in the driving seat, he'd give it a bash. The Drakensberg are a mere hindrance to him in this car, taking no more effort than to gear down and attempt it with more speed. Oh, it's going to be a lovely sunset. But I'm going to try and attempt to get a little bit higher so that we can see this beautiful sunset. I've given up my search for whatever was causing that disturbance in this drainage line. I'll return when it's dark with a spotlight and we can probe deeper in. But for now, I've had enough driving up and down aimlessly alongside that little piece of road. I think that elephant herd we've passed probably for the 20th time since the beginning of the drive is beginning to think there's something wrong with us. And let's go and look for a nice place to have a sunset. Kaylee has just asked, how do I know where I'm going when I'm driving around the park because there's no road signs? Kaylee, there's every one of these roads have a name, and every one of the roads has some or other type of landmark on it that is recognizable by all of us out here, similar to how you recognize a particular shop or a tree or a garden. That tree, for instance, is a weeping boer bean, a scotia, on a termite mound, and that's a really big scotia on a termite mound, and that is what we call the scotia on Weaver's Nest Road. So the road we're going to get to is the Scotia Road, well, the Scotia at Weaver's Nest Road, and this is Weaver's Nest Road, and every other road here has a name. And it takes you a little bit of time to get to know the road names out here. Probably about, I'd say, to be comfortable on every single one of the roads out here will take you a year of driving around here like these presenters do. About a year. But what takes a lot longer than that, probably about 5 years, is to figure out what lies between these roads. So where is the next road? I know it's there somewhere, but what lies between here and the next road? How many drainage lines is between here and there? What animal paths are in the middle? And it's that takes you such a long time. You literally got to crisscross and zigzag through this area on foot and in a vehicle for years and years to get that right. The road name's not too difficult. What lies between the roads, a little bit more so. Oh, we're driving straight into this beautiful sunset. It is lovely. See if we can actually get closer to quarantine. Lisa has just asked me all the way from, I'm not too sure where. Lisa, feel free to tell us where you're from. It's always interesting to know where these questions come from. You've just asked me, at what time does the sun set in winter? I think the earliest the sun sets, and the equinox was literally just the other day on the 21st of June. The earliest the sun sets is about 10 past 5, I think. So just after 5 o'clock on this side. And the latest it sets is just after 7 o'clock in summertime, around the summer, the summer solstice, not equinox, excuse me, wrong terminology, the solstice. And that is on the 21st of December. The sun is setting here just after 7 o'clock, whereas in winter it's about 2 hours earlier than that. Let's see if we can race the sun to the top of this hill and see if we can get it. I think we may have missed it. Let's see, I think we've missed the sunset. Right, I'm just going to pick up the speed a little bit. No, we haven't missed it. And I might be able to get you a view of the sunset and some zebra, which is exactly what we're going to try and do. I think we're going to miss. Get your screenshots ready. The sun is literally going to set while we're looking at this picture. Let's see if I can get you. No, Gert, where's going to be the best one? Forward. There we go. Let's watch the sunset together with some zebra. See if we can get you a nice picture for your screensavers. There we go. A little bit sticks in the way there, not to worry. It's the best that we've got it at the moment. There we go, lovely. you can count. I don't think that you'll reach 10 before the sun is gone. That's how quickly it sets here. You can start now if you like. And see that ball of blazing yellow gold. I thought it was going to be redder. The wind definitely had a remarkable effect at cleaning away the dust here. Taking a little bit longer than I predicted. Oh, just so peaceful out here. And that is the end of that. Sunset. End of another day out here. I'm not even sure what day of the week it is, what date it is. Things sort of blur together out here, really. You just have busy days and then sometimes less busy days. The less busy days we call Sundays. Me and my cat has just made a remark about what happens to our landmarks when they get knocked over by an elephant. That's a good question there, Mia. Then another tree, the second one on the road, becomes the landmark. Quite often, you are right there. Quite often, things like that old lion kill, or remember the leopard that was in this tree, become irrelevant as time goes by. And pans also dry up and get filled up, and trees get knocked down. You're 100% right there. But generally you know where you are, and if you don't really know where you are, you can always guess. But yeah, you are right. Sometimes the trees do go missing, and sometimes the pans get filled up, and sometimes people don't understand what you say when you say, they're at that place where the lion, oh, Jamie's got a fish eagle, off you go.
Guys, look at this. This is incredible. As we were driving away, and I don't want to get too close, so I'm just going to sit really still, the fish eagle came in and grabbed a catfish. And Jean actually spotted it because it happened behind us. And because it's such an enormous catfish, it actually couldn't fly in towards the tree. So it stopped there. Ah, this is awesome. I was very scared it was going to fly away, which is why we brought you across so quickly. But it seems for now it's settled. You can see it standing on the catfish itself. And it plucked it from that mud. I don't know if it was a live one. Ah, look at that. That's incredible. You can even see the sort of the feelers on the end of the catfish's mouth. And now, what is this fish eagle going to do? Is it going to feed here on the ground where it feels a bit vulnerable? Or is it going to try and take its enormous meal up into the tree? It seems to be debating that question itself, actually. That's elegant. That's also incredible strength. Ah, giving us a beautiful view of their tan feathers around their legs. It's actually quite a gruesome sight. I'm scared if I get any closer, and I know it is getting dark, so it starts to get a bit difficult, but if I get any closer, I think it's going to try and fly away, and I don't want to cause it to lose its meal. I was about to say hard won, but it's kind of fish in a barrel at the moment. No wonder this fish eagle's been spending so much time around Arathusa. Basically just goes to its built-in fridge, sort of, grabs the next meal whenever it feels hungry. What now, fish eagle? Now that you've sauntered right into the middle of the road. With great elegance. This is really interesting. Such fascinating behavioral insight into the way in which a fish eagle will usually go about. Whenever I've seen a fish eagle catch a fish, they've taken it up into the tree. But I've never seen, because I've actually never been around in a situation where the fish eagle has such easy access to a large, or a fish of this size. You often see them catching the tilapia and the yellowfins that we get. Oh, wow. Try and watch where it goes. Oh. Well, that's tricky. Oh, there it goes. It's gone into that. It's gone over there. Let's go see if we can watch it eat. That's awesome. It's fascinating. Here comes another one. It looks like another juvenile. No, it's just a motley adult going in. That is a juvenile. It's definitely a juvenile. Okay, we're going to reposition, but while we do, I'm going to send you back across to Steph, who has got one of our all-time favorite elephant characters.
Have a look at this little guy on top of quarantine. He's just made a 100-meter dash away from his mom. He's now with an auntie. Not quite sure what to do. Mom needs to come and fetch him. He's a little bit uncertain. There he goes. Run, 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 run. Whoa, 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 wrong way. You're running away from Mom. Where are you going? That's very brave of a youngster. Very, very, very brave. He's going to be one to watch as he gets a bit older. He has the makings of a traveler. With his head up. Elise, this is his mom. Here he comes. Whoa, 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 whoa. Here we go. Faster, faster, faster. You got it. Come this way. Yes, they're cute. Ah, you already know this. Sorry, I don't get out on the cars as often as I need to. I hear that you call this little guy Benjamin Button because of his little wrinkly forehead. Oh, they're cute. What a character, even at such a young age. Now they're all having a bit of a mouthful here. Destroying this variable bush willow. These bush willows do take a hammering, I must be honest with you. Most of them are coppiced around here, which proves that for generation upon generation, they've had these elephant chewing and gnawing at their branches. Beatrix in Bloemfontein, South Africa has asked me how many kilograms of food an elephant eats in a day. Beatrix, a female elephant like you're looking at right now will eat probably in the region of about 150 kilograms of food every day. They will eat in summertime, they will eat that 150 kilograms relatively quickly because of all the grass and vegetation around. But in wintertime, it sometimes takes them the whole day. They will eat, by volume, they'll eat about 150 kilograms, but they'll stay hungry, and so they eat a little bit more in winter than they eat in summertime, just because the nutrition value isn't as high. But roughly about 150 kilograms for a female. A male will eat around about 250 kilograms, and a big male elephant is roughly double the size of these females. Can you believe it? Hello, little Benjamin. Yes, I'm speaking about you. Yes? Why don't you come and run over here so we can laugh at you a bit closer at us? The Hussein Bolt of the elephant world, practicing for his sprinting. Here he's wanting to come and he's now wanting to come and give some nonsense to one of his cousins or aunties. 。 . 。  . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . . .
. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . .
I know a secret that Jamie doesn't know yet is the elephants are going to be keeping her awake the whole night. They're all around her house. As you can see, elephants are incredibly social animals, and this little Ellie, even though his mom is in this bush, he is able to socialize with other elephants in the group. They're not horrible to him. They don't try and tease him. He will have this whole social group around him 24/7 for years and years and years to come. It builds an incredibly deep bond. And before it flies away, Jamie's still with that fish eagle, so go back there and have a look at that. We'll stick with these Ellies as long as we can.
Absolutely gorgeous. Still hasn't fed yet. Only just checking out the surroundings. I'm surprised it hasn't gone about feeding straight away. The juvenile, by the way, that flew in has disappeared off completely. Come on, fish eagle. Are you going to feed? Perhaps not. Oh! It had it in its claws. It must have dropped it somewhere along the road. Wow! I did not realize that at all. I thought it had carried it all the way. When we last saw it fly, it had it in its claws, but apparently has dropped the catfish. After all of that. Isn't it fascinating that it hasn't gone back and tried to search for it or grab it? They clearly don't feel comfortable feeding on the ground, which makes complete sense because then they run the risk. They're heavy birds and they're not agile from sort of around takeoff. You know, they like to take the high perches where they can soar down towards the river and catch the fish and rely upon the momentum. But they're not really agile takers off. Not quite sure that's a word, but you sort of know what I mean. They're not very agile at the point at which they take off the ground. Lots of flapping that has to happen. And I think that's why they don't feel comfortable at all feeding when they are down on the ground. And like anything from another bird to a hyena to possibly, well, it would be interesting to witness, something one of the smaller cat species might think of taking on a fish eagle. And this fish eagle clearly has decided that it's not worth the risk of plunging back down to the ground to gather up its kill. And hello to Johnny, who is one of our newest viewers. Johnny is 8 years old from New Jersey. It's wonderful to have you on board with us on our safari. Now, Johnny wants to know a very good question, which is our fish eagle related to the bald eagle that he obviously has either seen or heard a lot about in America? Well, Johnny, yes, they are quite closely related. They're very, very similar in the way that they go about catching things. Of course, the fish eagle is more about the weight of the bird catching a fish, whereas your bald eagles are much, much bigger. A bald eagle is a lot bigger than a fish eagle, but for us, a fish eagle is kind of equally important to South Africans as the bald, almost, not quite, but almost as important as the bald eagle is to Americans. We love fish eagles here in South Africa. It's great to have you, Johnny, and I hope that we get lots and lots more questions from you. Well, since our fish eagle hasn't managed to keep its kill, I think we're going to move on now. It's been a beautiful afternoon spent around Arathusa Dam. Meantime, let's go back across to Steph, find out what is happening with Benji. There's a huge herd of buffalo.
We've just tried to position ourselves into a place where we think Benji's going to make his next mad dash across. I want to suggest that we change Benji's name from Benjamin Button to Benjamin Bolt for the mad sprints that he's making. While you're with Jamie and that amazing African fish eagle sighting, Benji has made 2 or 3 mad dashes from one adult elephant to another. What we're waiting for is just another one for him to do it again. I think this is his mom. I'm not too sure. There was a little bit of a cluster around the one tree and I lost track of which elephant was actually Benji's mom. We might actually have the wrong elephant because I see this youngster that's coming up to us now is following this cow. Let's just see what happens here. Nevertheless, today's been such an amazing elephant day. It's crazy. This morning, I couldn't find an elephant for love or money. This afternoon, there isn't a bush we've been able to drive around that doesn't have an elephant coming out of it. And we actually haven't had that many elephant herds out here for a week or two. I know we went through a stage where there was just, this place was just inundated with elephant. And it seems like whatever cycle those elephants have been on, they're back onto it again. What Ellie's all over the place. Couple now on all sides, in front and behind us. I had a bit of a distance. I'm waiting to see what young Benji does next. Source of much laughter here on this car. I can see he's with his mom now. She's just moved off a little bit. Let's see if we can go around and have a look at him. Definitely wouldn't have won that. Which cup is the P under, guessing at which one was Benji's mom out of this one. No, don't you push that tree down. Jamie, you all the way from New Jersey and you're a new viewer, welcome aboard. You've asked me a nice question, when do elephants first get their tusks? Now, elephants first get their little tusks coming out of their mouth at around about 1 year old. Those tusks then fall out, just like your teeth did when you were young. And then their adult tusks come in and take another couple of months to break free of their lips. And then they have tusks for the rest of their lives. Those tusks will stay theirs for the rest of their lives. So this young Benji, this little elephant that you're busy having a look at on the left-hand side of your screen right now, he doesn't have any tusks that come through his mouth just yet. And that, and just his little size, the fact that he's swinging his trunk around, doesn't quite know what to do with it, makes me believe he's a very young little elephant. He's probably no more than 3 months old. And that's his cousin in front of him. Jamie in the sunset has managed to bump into a massive breeding herd of buffalo, and before it gets too dark to view them, you are off to her. See you later.
Well, I would actually say that the herd of buffalo bumped into me, and it is an absolutely massive herd of these animals, dust flying everywhere. It's almost like a river flowing towards the Arathusa Dam. Incredible to witness. Look at them, they just keep rolling out of the dust. There must be, I don't know, I'm not even going to begin to guess at their numbers until I see the end of this herd. Let's go with lots for now. Lots and lots of buffalo. Probably about 500 or so, if I had to guess. Some of them looking relatively good, others starting to show signs of the drought. Now, a big bull, walking right next to the car. And still, they just keep appearing out of the dust. Absolutely stunning. It's just the sound of hundreds and hundreds of feet. The odd brush and cracking twig as the herd moves as a unit. And it is a limping buffalo, yes. There is one with a limp in the front. She's actually got a completely locked joint. There she is. She's at the back there. She's got a completely locked joint in her back left foot. She can't move it. Shame. Oh, there's a couple of them. Buffalo do often sustain leg injuries. And very often it's due to the fact that they've been racing away from something like a lion, or just racing away in blind panic, whether or not it is in fact necessary. And what happens is they twist their ankles in holes in mud, or holes in the aardvark holes, or anything like that. You can imagine that running with 500 animals next to you, it's a little bit difficult to look ahead at where you're running. Plodding irresistibly towards water. Wow. One massive bull moving along with the rest of the herd. I'm sorry, I'm transfixed. This is such an incredible scene. And every time I think that the buffalo are thinning out, which they are doing a little bit, but every time I look, there's more of them stepping out from behind the trees. Rolling herds of buffalo of the Greater Kruger National Park. Sometimes just nice to enjoy moments like this in peace. And while we watch our buffalo stream past, thank you to all of you for sending through your stunning screenshots. And well done to Jadre for capturing this incredible moment. As it starts to get darker and darker, the odd moo from the stragglers at the back. Oh, how many buffalo do we guess? 600? 700? Maybe even more. Let's go with lots. Lots of buffalo. Now, obviously, it is starting to get incredibly dark. and difficult for us to see these buffalo. We're going to start wending our merry way home, and while we do, let's go back to Steph. And speaking of merry things, back to Steph and Benji.
That's exactly right. We're still with Benjamin Button Bolt here. He hasn't made any mad dashes. I think he exhausted himself on those first couple. But he's now interested in the base of this tree. Something there caught his interest. It's an ant nest or something, and he's now exploring it with the tip of his trunk. I don't quite know what it is. Kicking around. He's a very inquisitive little elephant, this, I must be honest with you. He's going to get his trunk nipped by something living in a hole one day. Yeah, he's now tasting the sand. It's his cousin he's still busy hanging around with. And he's been with this little Ellie now for a good 5 or 10 minutes. And that's how they're busy learning. Now they're busy playing with a stick. And that's really how they learn. Elephants are incredibly inquisitive, and it's because of this inquisitiveness that they learn how to do all the things that they do, how to feed in different manners, how to dig for water, how to dig open clay banks for kaolin and other mineral salts, how they learn how to feed with their tusks, overcome disabilities. They definitely have an imagination. Let's see what he's up to now. It's another base of a stick. I don't know what this little elephant is doing. Now he's coming back onto his racetrack. Let's see what he decides to do. Hello, boy. These little guys. Cute. I'm going behind his turf partner. He mustn't do that. Go forward a little bit and see if we can see him again. Sigrid, all the way from Switzerland, has remarked that the elephant that she saw has 2 holes at the end of the trunk. And is this 2 nasal openings? Absolutely, Sigrid. That's the 2 of the nostril openings in an elephant. How I always liken to what a trunk is. Basically, if you put your thumb underneath your top lip and your other 2 forefingers, one in each nostril, and you pull out and imagine extending it to past your arm length, that is a trunk. A trunk is an amalgamation of a top lip and a nose. And that is what a trunk is. And at the end of that, there's 2 holes, the vestigial remnants of their nose. There's something nice on this tree. I don't know what it is. This little Ellie visits everybody in this herd. Everyone that's come close to him, he's going to go and say hello to. Investigating another stick. We're probably no more than 20 yards from this particular little elephant. He's paying us absolutely no mind whatsoever. Neither is his mom, which is a good thing. We don't want to make mom angry. Here comes another auntie or a cousin. Now what are you going to do, little Benjamin Button Bolt? I don't quite know what he's going to, if he's going to burst into speed, jump up on his back legs, shake his head, dig in a hole. And just some tactile contact there. That's part of how they stay in touch with one another. It's amazing. It's starting to get almost dark enough that I can't distinguish these elephants from the bush with my naked eye. The lucky thing is that these cameras are allowing you to enjoy this particular sighting without much light going on. Let's see if I put on a little bit of light. It doesn't make too much of a difference. It does to his mom a bit. She's got a beautifully long tusk, and then the tusk closest to us is her slave tusk. The tusk that she uses more than the other one when she's feeding. She will be therefore left-tusked in her dimorphism. And you can see that she's made a fantastic chisel shape at the end of that tusk, prying open bark and wedging branches, and digging open things, breaking trees. That is the tusk that she will use above the other one, which you can see is hardly used at all. Using that very, very sensitive tip of the trunk to pick out morsels, stuffing it into their mouths. Almost a non-stop conveyor belt of food going through these elephants, especially at the moment. Every little last bit of nourishment that they can find. Nice. I'm so happy that you got such beautiful screenshots of little Benji. Well done. Please carry on sharing all of those. We love seeing them. Right, and I think it's getting that time. It's a little bit too dark for us to keep with these elephants at the moment. I obviously don't want to scare any elephant, but I can't see where they all are at the moment, and I don't want to go blundering around where we are. Might give them a fright and tip the balance there and create a little bit of insecurity in this herd with people. So we're going to carry on going. Leave little Benji and his mom to their night's feeding. Good night. Thank you very much for letting us share your day with you. There we go. I just had to greet them. I think elephant deserve it of being greeted. Oh, look at that sky that's up there. Orange sky with this giant marula tree that is silhouetted in there. Isn't that fantastic? James would be proud of you, Gert. He'd approve of the sunset shot of yours. That is lovely. Old grandfather of a marula tree. You can just see those branches in there just being broken off through wind and storm. Elephants and whatnot has this tree seen in its life on this planet. Good 200 years or so to get this size. Not the largest of trees out here, but definitely one of the most important because of the fruit that it produces. The marula fruit. That is a lovely shot there. Well done. Nice. Let's carry on to the next amazing thing. Alright, Jamie's got that breeding herd of buffalo that have arrived at Arathusa Dam. Off you go for that exciting thing.
They have not been difficult to keep up with, our herd of buffalo, but we just thought we would show you this incredible scene that is unfolding in front of the Arathusa Lodge, with the floodlights illuminating them beautifully, highlighting all of the dust, as probably 600 odd buffalo pile into the open area as a spot to spend the night. A nice safe spot, or at least a safer spot, for them to spend their evening. Nice and open, be able to see any threats that might try and sneak up upon them. And still more on their way, by the sounds of it. How absolutely amazing is this? Just buffalo and dust. And Andreen? Absolutely not. In no way think you should know this, because it's actually quite complicated. So Andreen asked if there was a dominant female or a male in a buffalo herd of this size. And Andreen, no, there isn't. But it's a really good question that you asked, and it's something that we don't touch upon often enough. So I really thank you for raising this particular point. Buffalo don't have dominant members of their group. They will have the big bulls that just by size and by nature will always be more dominant than anything else. But there's some really interesting studies that show that the way that the buffalo decide to move is female-led. So the females decide where the buffalo are going to go. But it almost seems as though it's a democratic system. Now, that's a bit of a stretch and a bit too anthropomorphic to describe it that way. But it seems as though groups of females, when they stand up and they move the herd, they kind of all stand facing a direction and they kind of reach a consensus and then move off. So that's what I've observed in buffalo behavior. It's also what I've read about in studies that have been done into the way that buffalo move. But otherwise, no, there's no particularly dominant male or female that leads the group in the same way there might be for elephants or anything like that. I think that actually pretty much spells the end of our sighting. Most of them have melted into the darkness off to the east of us. There's still some more on their way, judging by the moose in the distance. I can hear them roaring behind me. But I think it's time for us to leave our buffalo to spend their night out in the open clearing, hopefully safe and sound. But you never know. A herd of buffalo like this is a serious temptation for a pride of lions. Right, I think let's move on. Most of our buffalo have moved out of the light and it's now very dark, facing out into the distance. I'm just going to turn around and then I'll turn my lights on. And a very interesting question coming through from Tasha as well. Hello Tasha, welcome as always to our sunset safari. Now Tasha's asked, is there a reason why they move about in such big groups like this, other than searching for water? And it raises an interesting point, because that's what buffalo do. They're herd animals. You don't really find solitary females anywhere. They move together in a herd, and those herds are usually sort of minimum 50, right up to 500, 1,000, some recorded cases of 4,000 buffalo. Not necessarily in the Kruger National Park, but in other parts of Africa, 4,000 buffalo in one group. And it is a kind of safety in numbers, I guess, the reason that they have evolved to be that way. But it's interesting because they've got two very distinct groupings. They've got the breeding herd, and the breeding herd is females, males, young males, old males, big bulls, young bulls, and calves all together as a group. And then you get the Duggar boys. Those are the ones that we see more frequently because they're dotted all about, either on their own or in small groups. And it's interesting the way that almost buffalo have evolved to have two different social structures completely. It's fascinating. And it's something that I actually hadn't given much thought to before you asked that question, which is why our viewers' questions are so incredibly valuable to us. Well, on that note, unfortunately, we find ourselves at the end of the Sunset Safari, and it's time for us to say farewell to you all. So thank you, Jean-Andre, for your fantastic camera work. We've got a long way to go to dinner, so I'm going to keep driving as we go along. And thank you to the lovely entire crew of Final Control, from Lou, Rebecca, Jerry, and Chelsea. And most importantly, thank you to all of you watching us across the globe. I hope you've had a fantastic adventure with us, and that you will join us in a couple of hours for the next adventure. Bye-bye, everybody.
Welcome back for the last little bit of the Sunset Safari, and how sad has it come? It happened so quick. I mean, I must be honest with you, it felt like this morning's safari for me lasted about 6 hours because we were looking for those lions non-stop. But so far, this afternoon has just been one elephant herd after another. It's just been fantastic. For those of you that tune into Brent on Facebook, I hope he gave you a good recitation of his gorilla story. We are all dying to hear what happened over there. Apparently it was pretty epic, so we can't wait to see what's going on there. There's a big herd of impala that's just coming across the road in front of us. Pretty weird that they're not on quarantine tonight. I wonder why they've decided to move all the way here. Nevertheless, I think this is going to be a good place for us to have our closing. Are they still eating? That's why. That's pretty weird, that the fact that they're supposed to be on the open area now, but they feel the need that they still need to eat. So back to just today. Today's just been, this morning was quiet. It felt like a transition. The lions left the property, leopard we couldn't find, no elephant. This afternoon elephants have moved back in. I'm told by the radio that the sighting that we had, or that the sighting that they've had in Buffelshoek, the kill, is empty, and the lions all seem to have moved off. So who knows where they're going to be tomorrow. Let's see what tomorrow brings in terms of leopard as well. We haven't seen Karula or her cubs. We haven't seen Shadow her cubs at all. We haven't seen Sindile in a couple of days. I'm itching to find out exactly where they are. But anyway, from myself and Gert, from the ladies in FC, from all of us here at Wild Earth, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your questions and your comments, and for really just being with us during these days. I just have to say thank you on my part once again. Have a good night, and see you tomorrow.